They say you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, and perhaps the organisers of the Tour de France did just that with stages 8 and 9. After a quiet day to Laval, the hope was that after a little bit of an ear-tugging by the organisers, that stage 9 would prove to be very, very different. Destination Châteauroux, similar distance of 174 kilometres, but wind the major factor, and it was starting to ebb into the minds of everyone who was about to start.
The riders are rolling to the start of stage 9 of the Tour de France. We have had interviews in the mix zone behind here. The sprinters are keen for another chance, but also the GC team spoke to Jonas Vingegaard from Visma Lease Bike. If there is wind out there, if there is possible crosswind, they will for sure try something.
Wind most definitely, gusting up to 40 kilometres per hour, an average for the westerly. Well, around 18 to 20 kilometres per hour, but you just never know when the action might begin. Well, there's a hope for a more dramatic day, a pacey day to Laval, but this potentially very different. Just as the course started to zigzag late on, it meant that there would be a combination of cross-tailwind and full-on crosswind in our run to our home of Châteauroux today. No categorised climbs along the way, but an early sprint to tempt those who might go for it. Kilometre 0, well, as you can see, bit between the teeth, and away they went. Just the two of them, you understand. Jonas Rickert and Mathieu van der Poel. What on earth was going on? Well, everyone thinking this won't last. Maybe it's just a bit of showboating and they'll sit up any moment. Rickert had a job, had a plan. Riding along with him, Mathieu van der Poel, well, he knew the detail as well. Nobody else did. And the gap, well, it expanded. There was lots of blank faces looking at each other thinking, what on earth is happening now? What was happening was a mighty push. Would it be over at the intermediate sprint? That was the big question. Well, the gap edged out towards the 3-minute mark, and the sprint duly came with a margin getting up to the 4-minute mark. Did they sit up? Absolutely not. Well, confusion still reigned. There was a sort of a modest chase just behind. The man in the green jersey is, of course, Jonathan Milin. And, of course, he made sure that the points that were on offer here went his way. And then everyone thought, right, let's just wait for this to ebb as we flow. And it didn't happen. 4.5 minutes now. 5 minutes and, well, nerves starting to fray. And likewise, some skin was being left upon the road, I'm afraid. Some were to suffer far worse than others. There was a kind of a pacing duty on the front with still 124 kilometres to go. The belief was that 5.5 minutes could be bridged. Zimmerman took a really heavy fall. Looked like he'd been in a battle with a cheese grater, I'm afraid. And the news coming in that João Almeida had succumbed to his rib injury and was out of the race. Meanwhile, those up front were still going for it. Brave Rickert and Van der Poel. Rickert given a combativity award early on the day. Meanwhile, everyone else still wondering about what resources to spend closing them down. The pace of the day was reasonable. We were over 40 kilometres an hour for much of it. That news finally confirmation that Almeida would indeed be departing the race. And what a shame for him, and what a shame for Tadej Pogačar as well, with a vital support man for the mountains now out of the race. Well, sometimes the wind causes echelons, sometimes just the very thought that it might even be there causes echelons. Well, with some of those who would contend the day off the back, those who would put them indeed to the sword, metaphorically you understand, pushed on. Then there was a regathering, and then there was a recalibration, and everyone thinking, right, we need to spend our resources properly here if we are going to wind out or wind in those who are up the road. Well, out and back they came, the gap ebbing and flowing, and when it got down to 90 seconds with just over 30 kilometres remaining, we were starting to think, right, they are done for. The problem was the chase couldn't get a cohesion about it, and they were running out of resources, spending vital riders, the sprinters teams that would be involved perhaps in a lead out. The pair up front, of course, was supposed to be leading out Caden Groves, so what would he do by the end of the day? Questions, questions, but what would be the answer? And indeed, how deep and how far would the pair go who were up the road? It was absolutely remarkable. They were holding a margin. There was a lot of fatigue out there, and plenty of riders, including Wout van Aert, had to wrestle to get themselves back on. Bouncing under the minute, then back over it. This was absolutely fascinating. Well, finally, some of the GC teams decided to join the chase here in hot pursuit. Nobody wanted anything silly to happen. But how would this remarkable day end? Finally released on his own, Mathieu van der Poel was going for it. Could he, would he possibly make it home? The margins were coming down. Heartbreak for some, but who?
740 metres to the line. The adventure's over, and now it's time for a sprint. IPT moving up through the centre. Medellin following the wheels on the right-hand side. Danny van Poppel's there as well. Mercer's further back in the blue and white. They go left, they go right, they avoid the elbows. The green giants there again. Milan on the left-hand side following in. It's Van Poppel who starts to lead out on the left. Look at this on the right though. That was Stewart. It's Ackerman following. He's perfectly placed. We're a few hundred metres from the line. There goes Medellin. Medellin on the right-hand side. But again, it's Milan in front. It's Medellin gaining. Medellin is there. He might have the beating of him. They go to the line, and Tim Medellin at the double. Wow! Wow! Wow!
What a remarkable day it turned out to be. Tim Medellin doubles up, having beaten at Milan on stage 3 into Dunkirk. He's done it here in Châteauroux. What a day, and what a brave break it was for the line. Medellin taking it ahead of Milan, Deli and Bittner.
Me and Bert were together here in the Tour. First time we were together, and I was so much more confident with him in front of me. I did a really good job. One moment I thought it was boxed in, but I can come out just before 200 meters or maybe just after, I don't know anymore. Just go all in, and I'm happy I can win my second stage here this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you too.
Great effort. Meanwhile behind, at one point Mathieu van der Poel was the effective leader of this race. That didn't happen. Tadej Pogačar stays in control overall ahead of Evenepoel, Vauquelin, Van Gogh, and of course Jorgensen. Mathieu van der Poel dropping one place to 6th in the overall standings. Oh, get your breath and get ready for stage 10. Mont d'Or is up ahead. Only 165 kilometers, but 8 categorized climbs along the way. This is going to hurt. It was designed to be a bit of a spectacle. Of course, it's Bastille Day, so French riders will be gunning to be in the breakaway. Can you imagine if the breakaway today had succeeded? It looks likely tomorrow. Let's wait and see as the Tour de France rolls on brilliantly here.